Good evening and welcome. We're so excited to see everyone tonight. I'm Abby Fearman, and along with my co-chairs, Lynn Elflin and Risa Gowers, I'd like to welcome you on board CJP's Pomegranate Society and Friends virtual mission to Morocco, a journey through the senses. While much has changed in the past year, one thing has stayed the same: the strength of our connection through CJP and women's philanthropy. We have formed a community bond that cannot be broken by physical distance. Despite trying circumstances, we have found a way to keep making a difference together. This mission, which is taking place of our traditional in-person Pomegranate event, is another creative way we're keeping in touch with our Jewish community and nourishing our own Jewish lives.
We had so much fun putting this two-night mission together. We are grateful to everyone who helped make this possible, especially to our Palm Mission Committee of more than 50 women, and to our generous women's philanthropy sponsors. Please pay special attention to our closing credits to cheer for those who helped make this mission possible. Thank you so much. While we're not all hopping on a plane, we are taking off together to explore new lands and to see the impact that our support of CJP can have all around the world in places like Morocco and beyond. So put your seat in the upright position because you are not going to want to miss a moment.
And it's my pleasure to introduce CJP's president and CEO, Rabbi Mark Baker, who will share his thoughts as we begin our journey together. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you so much, Abby, Lynn, and Risa, for all the time you've put into making this exciting event possible. And a special thank you to Women's Philanthropy President Lori Glicklick and Campaign Chair Wendy Kraft. Tonight's program, and the second part next week, will give us the chance to learn about a Jewish community that dates back to the first temple. It's a community with a complex and sometimes turbulent past, and as we'll hear, a hopeful future. The Jews of Morocco have endured for 2,500 years in a place where they have been alternately accepted and protected, and targeted, and sometimes even expelled. Yet their contributions to their home country are many. They've enriched Jewish life and created a substantial and thriving culture. And I'm not going to give a big Devar Torah tonight, but I'd be remiss if I did not mention that Maimonides, the Rambam, arguably one of the most important and influential Jewish rabbis, teachers, and leaders in Jewish history, lived for a decade of his life in Morocco. Rambam was the quintessential modern Jew. He combined the best and the deepest of traditional Jewish scholarship with philosophy and engagement with what was for him at the time the modern world. He was a doctor, a scholar, a rabbi, a teacher, a philosopher, some even say a mystic. Maimonides brought together the full picture of what Judaism was all about, and he helped to teach all of us what it means to live out a passionate, thriving Jewish life engaged with the modern world. The Rambam's teachings and his influences are with us today and have shaped Judaism as we know it, and so much of that started in Morocco. So in just a few minutes, we're going to depart, or our virtual version of departure, for Morocco. And in a year that's required all of us to learn new lessons about the meaning of resiliency, I think we'll find that Morocco's Jews helped to define that term. Before World War II, nearly 250,000 Jews lived in Morocco, and now that number is closer to 2,000. It's an aging and at times vulnerable population, and one that benefits from the outreach of our partners at the JDC and from other organizations as well. In spite of, or perhaps because of, the challenges this community has faced, Morocco is alive with Jewish history. In one city, you can find the remnants of a walled Jewish community, a wall that, unlike in Europe, wasn't there to separate Jews from the rest of society, but rather to protect them. Morocco has synagogues and Jewish cemeteries that date back centuries. It boasts the handiwork of Jewish artisans, past and present, including incredible mosaics, jewelry, metalwork, and wood carving. It has its own unique traditions, including the Festival of Maimuna, and a tradition of influential rabbis and thinkers like Maimonides, who I mentioned earlier. And then, of course, there is the incredible food and music. Morocco's Jews have been hit particularly hard by this pandemic, but we are confident that brighter times are ahead. Morocco and Israel have normalized ties for the first time, and the first direct flights between Rabat and Tel Aviv started last month, connecting family and friends in Morocco to the more than 700,000 Jews of Moroccan descent living in Israel today. Our mission tonight will help us learn more about our Jewish brothers and sisters in Morocco, and it will also remind us that Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh Lezeh. All of Israel is bound up with and collectively responsible for one another. That's what it means to be part of a Jewish people, to be part of a global Jewish community that takes care of one another and that is bound together by a shared past and a shared future. I look forward to taking this virtual journey with all of you tonight. And I just want to thank so many of the amazing volunteers and my CJP colleagues whose leadership, vision, and hard work have made this program possible. And to all of you, your generosity has helped to sustain our Greater Boston Jewish community at a time when our needs have been great. We are strengthened and more resilient because of your volunteering, because of your generosity, and because of you continuing to take part in Jewish life and learning with us. Thank you so much. And now I'll pass it to Risa as we prepare for departure.
Thank you, Mark. Your leadership this past year has been remarkable. You've led the way for CJP to continue to foster rich Jewish connections, in addition to making a remarkable difference for vulnerable populations locally and abroad. So much of what we hear about throughout our trip. We're so glad you were able to join us this evening. As we set out on our mission, I want to give you a quick overview of our itinerary. We've planned an evening that's packed with intrigue, action, and spice. We'll get our bearings from Muhtar, one of our guides, who will give us an overview of Morocco and the Jewish communities. And then Zuhair, another one of our guides, who will wake up our senses with a delicious tea ceremony. We'll spend a bit of time in Casablanca, Rabat, and Fez, and we'll also learn about the work that your CJP gift supports in partnership with the JDC. Next week, we'll spend some time touring other areas in the country, hear more from the community, and get a special look at how to make a traditional Moroccan dish that you can try next Shabbat. So get ready, because here we go.
Shalom. Welcome CJP, Boston Women's Group, to Morocco. We can't wait to welcome you here in Morocco when you'll be able to visit us in person. We look forward to showing you our beautiful country, our rich culture, and our vibrant Jewish community. Hope see you soon and host you soon.
Hello, CJP women of Boston. I'm Mokhtar, your guide. I will be more than happy to lead you on this journey through the senses in magical Morocco. Morocco is one of the oldest monarchies in the world. The life of the country goes back to antiquity, and it was inhabited by the Berbers, who are the original inhabitants that lived here since the year 3400 BC. After that, the Berbers were invaded by different nations like the Greeks, the Romans, the Visigoths, the Carthaginians, the Vandals, and later on the Arabs populated the country. So the history of Judaism in Morocco is one of the most interesting experiences in the world. The Jews started to come here with the Phoenicians and the Greeks, but in very small numbers. The most consequent immigration of the Jews towards Morocco was only about 2,000 years ago, when they left the Holy Land, chased by the Romans, who kept chasing them through Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, and Algeria, and they ended up in Morocco. Morocco was during that time controlled by the Romans, and that is how the Jews who couldn't live on the coastal sections of Morocco with the Romans' prisons kept going deep inside to the mountains, and that is how we are talking about the first group of the Jews, the Tushavim, or most commonly known as the Berber Jews. They lived with the Berbers, and the Berbers were fascinated by the sophistication of these newcomers, and they integrated them in their communities. Later on, the Jews played a major role as the middleman in the trade between the different tribes, and also they were the main craftsmen of different trades like boot making, mattress making, making pottery, jewelry, and many other commodities that were needed during that time. The Jewish community later on, after the 15th century, was enriched by the coming of a new comers that came this time from Spain, the Sephardic Jews that were chased during the Inquisition by Isabel and the Catholic and Ferdinand. So this is how more than 100,000 Jews were expelled from Spain by these two rulers, and most of them ended up living here in Morocco, where they started to live in the main cities and started to enrich the community. They were referred to as the Migorashim, literally meaning the thrown out Jews. So Morocco is linked to Europe because we are separated from the Europe by the Straits of Gibraltar. That is only 9 miles from Europe, and we are deeply enrooted in Africa, and that is how the influence of the Africa has been so important, so rich with different ethnic groups and with different influences. And also, this is how one of the main things that we find in Morocco is that acceptance and tolerance of the others. Most of the inhabitants of Morocco have come not as invaders, but mainly as refugees that wanted to look for special peaceful areas and a peaceful experience. So this is what makes up the identity of Morocco as a multicultural country with monarchy as the main political system, because Morocco has always been considered as one of the oldest monarchies in the world, and the present dynasty that is still in reign is considered as the oldest family in reign in the world, because the present day king Mohammed VI is the 23rd king of this dynasty that started in the 17th century.
My name is Zuhair. So I'll be one of your local tour guides to welcome you here in Marrakesh and to share with you all the hidden treasures of Marrakesh, also our main ceremony to make the tea together. So let's proceed, shall we? We are here inside one of the beautiful riads. Riads, a beautiful old-style house in the heart of the old town of Marrakesh in the Medina.
Welcome to La Maison Arabe, to Women's of Boston.
Every household that you go to in Morocco, everyone would welcome you with a cup of tea. This is the common denominator between all the classes in our society. So to make the tea, so the main ingredients is the green tea, gunpowder, and it's imported. We do not grow the tea in Morocco because it's not the right climate for it. The second ingredient that we use is the fresh mint. And now to the magic ingredients that we add, that all the Moroccans love and treasure, and that is sugar. Sugar comes in Morocco as a sugar loaf, which weighs about 4 pounds. That's around 2 kilos of sugar. Well, to prepare the tea, so that Sukaina is going to be the one, our host, who is going to demonstrate for us how to make the tea. in Morocco. So the first thing that you do, boiling water, and you pour a little bit of boiling water into the teapot. Why is that? It is to rinse the teapot and also to warm the metal because it's quite cold. Especially, we happen to be in the winter now and it is quite cold outside. So the next thing is a couple of spoons of the green tea that goes into the teapot, and you put a little bit of water on it and you leave it just for a few seconds. Why is that? In order to extract all the aroma, all the flavor of the tea. Please note, we do not touch the teapot at this point because we do not want to disturb all the dust that is inside. A few seconds later, you pour the teapot. You pour the tea slowly, gently. And the other part is that you add a little bit of boiling water. But this time what you're doing is you're giving it a vigorous shake because you want to disturb all that dust that was in the drying process of the tea leaves, so they have gathered quite a lot of dust. All that bitterness of the tea is in this. So we want to rid ourselves really like from all this and get rid of it. Look at the difference really like in the color coming out of the same tea. So the first one is a beautiful orangey color, whereas the other one is darker because that is where all the dust and all that bitterness of the tea is. In Morocco, we don't use this one, so we usually throw it down. And the first one that Sukaina poured will go back again into the teapot. At this stage, you top it up with boiling water and you put it back again on the stove for a few seconds. At this stage, once it comes off the stove, so we add the most important ingredients, and that is the sugar. So Moroccans are known for having a very sweet tooth. So but what we do, we take the sugar, we take the back of the glass, and we start tapping. Few taps, then you break it into smaller pieces that they become like this. So Sukaina is going to put the sugar usually that she wants, and also at this stage you've got to be very generous with the amount of fresh mint that you put in, because the bitterness of the tea, it gets really like balance with the freshness of the mint, and that what gives it the extra kick, the extra flavor. So you will see that Sukaina is going to be quite generous with the amount of fresh mint that she's going to put in it, because that's what you count on. So give it really like a good squeeze and it goes into the teapot. At this stage she's going to add sugar. So like I told you, so we tend to make it extremely sweet. So like we said, so how to break it? So usually just by tapping it, and it goes into smaller pieces. So the next thing is you start into mixing all the ingredients inside the teapot. So it goes back in, and that allows the sugar to melt. And this creates this beautiful smell, this beautiful atmosphere. And why the tea taking so long to make? It is because you are enjoying the company, and you discuss, you talking, you are solving issues, you are really socializing with your guests. So pouring the tea, as you see, Sukaina is pouring the tea from high enough, it is helping in the oxygenation of the tea and creating this beautiful head, really that foam that goes in because of the boiling water. So the foam in with the touch on your lips, so that is in order not to burn the lip. She will never fill it to the top, always leave enough room to hold the glass without burning your fingers. In Morocco we say bisaha. Bisaha. Cheers.
Thank you, Zuhair and Sukaina, for showing us one example of the beautiful Moroccan custom of a tea ceremony and the importance of hospitality and bringing community together. If you've ever traveled with CJP before, you know that one of the highlights is getting to know the other people on your bus. We couldn't leave that part out tonight. So we're going to send you into breakout rooms for a chance to say hello and savor the flavor of Morocco with the tea provided in your pre-departure gift box, just like we would if we were on buses traveling between our destinations. We will spend a few minutes chatting, and then we will all come back together to continue our journey. To get the conversations going, please introduce yourself, where you live, and the first place you'd like to travel post-pandemic. See you back here in a few.
Hi, I'm Debbie Sareski, and I'm from Needham, and I co-chaired a women's mission to Israel with Wendy Kraft in 2013. 42 women joined us for a life-changing experience. For me, I formed meaningful bonds with my mission sisters while touring Israel, having the opportunity to see how some of CJP dollars are put to work, connecting to Judaism, and creating lasting memories. What could be better? Now, almost 8 years later, we still try to organize mission reunions, and it's really great to see how many women have become more engaged in CJP as a result of our mission. I can't wait to go on another mission as soon as it's safe.
My name is Mindy Frankel-Peckler, and I've been fortunate enough to travel on several CJP missions. I've traveled to Cuba, to the US border in San Antonio, Texas, to Hungary, the Czech Republic, and Spain. By traveling with CJP, I've had the opportunity to experience these locations and do important work, all through a Jewish lens.
Welcome back. Now it's time to hop off the bus and take a stroll through the streets of Casablanca.
My name is Halim El Mansouri, born and raised in Casablanca, 48 years old, married, proud father of 3 kids. I'm so proud today to show you my lovely city, Casablanca.
The history of Casablanca is dated back to the 7th century, when it was founded by the Berbers. In the 16th century, Casablanca was invaded by the Portuguese. Why did the Portuguese invade Casablanca? 2 reasons. Portugal was a superpower expanding its borders all over the world, and Morocco and Casablanca were no exception. The second reason was that the ships of the Portuguese and the Spanish mainly were so much irritated by the pirates of Casablanca. Why did the pirates attack mainly the Portuguese and the Spanish ships? That's in retaliation for their being expelled from Spain after the Reconquista. You can see now the Atlantic Ocean that stretches around 2,500 kilometers on Morocco. The Portuguese stayed in the city for around 200 years until 1755. What happened in 1755? A massive earthquake that hit Lisbon in Portugal, but the effect was so strong that the whole city of Casablanca was leveled, completely destroyed. So the Portuguese were no more interested in a ruined city. That's why we read in the books of history that Casablanca was freed by nature, not by war. 50 years after that, the Spanish came and rebuilt the city and called it Casablanca.
Hi, my name is Rafael David El Maleh. I am the only Jewish guide in Morocco, and now I'm going just to present you one of our sites in Morocco. Okay, so this is one of the most beautiful synagogues we have in Casablanca, called the Beth El Synagogue, that was built in 1949 by the Jewish community. One of the most beautiful synagogues where they do all the festivity, and the main one is in Yom Kippur, that we have the governor coming here to present us of and wishing us a happy Yom Kippur. This is the only thing in the Arab world. Here we are again. This is one of our bakeries. We have 4 bakeries here in Morocco, especially in Casablanca, kosher, and this one who makes the best halal on Shabbat. So unfortunately he's not here at the moment, but this you can see the beautiful kosher bakery that we have in Casablanca. Here we are again. This is Rafi. Now we are going in one street, as we call it the 7th street of the 7 synagogues. And we're going to point to each synagogue where they are. Now here, can you see on the balcony, the smallest balcony, we call it Synagogue de Hammam. Actually there is a steaming bath, but on the top, that little balcony you see is the first synagogue. They have a minyan every morning normally. On the other side here in blue and white, that was a school called Em Habanim. Now we call it the synagogue Em Habanim, that has services every morning and Friday night and Shabbat. So this is number 2 synagogue. Synagogue, this we call Rabbi Meir Synagogue, that was belonged to a very famous rabbi, but unfortunately now because of the COVID, this synagogue they don't operate every day. Maman Synagogue, this belonged to a very famous rabbi that when he died, his children they made it as a synagogue. So imagine this street that you see here, they were all of it Jewish, and that you cannot imagine so how many synagogues in one. But when there's no COVID, all this synagogue operates every morning. So this is the 6th synagogue. We call it Ben Baruch Synagogue. We can see that white little tent, and there where they do the services. Ben Baruch, originally he's from Tarudant, and his family made the synagogue on his name of this famous rabbi. Okay, this is the 7th synagogue. We call it Buskila Synagogue. Operates also only on Friday and Shabbat. Okay, now we are in this what we call the old age home. We have about 26 residents, and unfortunately because of the COVID we cannot go inside to see it, and this is helped by the JDC and the community. This is an Alliance school. We have 4 organizations of Alliance school. We have about 127 kids, and the 10% is non-Jewish. So they also like to come to our school. So this is what we call a youth club, and this is called the JCC. And this all where the kids, they come to play sport. They have canteen where they eat, and everyone we have like a party. We have a big hall here. So all this was built by the Jewish community, and His Majesty the King also gave a budget for it.
Construction started in 1987 and finished in 1993. And the mosque was designed by a French architect. His name is Michel Pinceau, and it was built by a giant civil engineering company called Bouygues, French. And the mosque has the tallest minarets, the minarets that you see in front of you now, the mosque tower, we call it in Arabic minarets, minara or minarets, is the tallest minaret in the world. It's the tallest religious structure in the whole world, and as well the tallest structure in the country. It's 210 meters high, around 660 feet higher than the sea level. And the mosque can host up to 25,000 people inside and 80,000 people outside the mosque.
While we love the new sights, sounds, and experiences we get from CJP missions, one of the most meaningful parts for me is a chance to see the work that we support up close. The American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee, or the JDC, has partnered with CJP for decades, helping on the ground in Jewish communities in more than 70 countries all over the globe. First, we will hear from Shoshana Aharon from the JDC, and then we will hear from Dorit Ben Moha, JDC's representative on the ground in Morocco. I had the pleasure of speaking with Dorit, learning about her upbringing in Morocco, as well as her present-day position working for the JDC, which she has been in for over 30 years. Her enthusiasm is so infectious, and I'm excited for you to hear more from Dorit. But first, here's Shoshana.
Good evening, POM mission participants. It's so great to be with you tonight in Morocco. My name is Shoshana, and I am part of JDC's global team and live in Jerusalem. JDC is the leading Jewish humanitarian organization working in 70 countries around the world to lift lives and strengthen communities. We are honored to be CJP's longtime international partner to ensure that CJP's impact reaches far beyond the greater Boston area. The CJP-JDC partnership is truly global, and thankfully so, because the needs worldwide due to COVID-19 are immense. Our collective ability to successfully continue to engage and support Jewish communities through this global pandemic has been profoundly rewarding. Through your support, CJP and JDC continue to safeguard, strengthen, and support Jews of all ages around the world. Tonight, we will embark on a memorable journey in Morocco. A haven for Jews fleeing the Spanish Inquisition, Morocco has been home to Jews for hundreds of years. JDC has been working with the local Jewish community here since the 1940s to support the elderly, educate the next generation, and help those in need. Today, this small, vibrant Jewish community has achieved an exceptional degree of self-sufficiency and serves as an example for other Jewish communities around the world. Get ready to learn and experience the rich history, culture, and warmth of this exceptional Jewish community. From Morocco to Israel, Dnipro to Havana, and beyond, thank you for your loyal partnership and support to ensure our work can continue whenever and wherever we are needed.
Hello, bonjour, salam, shalom. My name is Doreen Benmoa, and I was born in Casablanca, Morocco, where I still live. My family goes back to many generations, 3,000 years back to history. Today, I still have a part of my family living in Morocco and a part living abroad. I also have 2 children. First, I need to tell you the pride I get every time I talk about this country and these Jewish communities throughout centuries. I am proud to be Moroccan, and I am a great supporter of this coexistence between Muslim and Jews. Please take a look at this symbolic picture where you can see Muslims carrying palm tree leaves to Jewish homes to build the sukkah. So what was for me evident before, it's today very special to see. Once a community of 250,000 souls in the 50s, today we talk about 1,500 settled and living in Morocco. But it always has been a very vibrant community despite the decreasing number. Unfortunately, due to the coronavirus, this community was tragically touched. We had 14 people who passed away last April during the lockdown, and until today, some of the members are infected. Like everywhere in the world, all the Jewish institutions are closed for the moment. This figure, even though small, is not relevant to the life we have here. For any reason, wedding, social event, a high holiday, or simply tourism, thousands of Moroccan Jews come to visit their native countries. All the Jews are very welcomed. They always have a special care from the government and the king. I am maybe one of the rare students in my time to decide to stay here, mainly because I started to work to JDC office, which was a summer job since I was 18 years old, became my whole life and dedication. One of the reasons also why this community drops a number along the years is that the students who graduate leave the country to study abroad for better education and opportunities. But not only the Jews leave, also the high social class of the Muslim society. And for economical reasons, many of them don't return to Morocco. You can imagine today the challenge we're facing with the coronavirus. As a consequence of it, JDC provided extra financial support to help the local communities with sanitary material, as well as financial assistance to 100 middle-class families. Our Jewish life here is very well structured, mainly in Casablanca, where most of the Jews live. We have 22 functioning synagogues, 6 kosher butchers, 6 kosher restaurants, 7 kosher caterers, 2 Jewish school network with 350 students, 2 old age homes, 1 in Casablanca and 1 in the north of Morocco, a kollel, community center. We have rabbi judges, shochatim, and a rabbinical court managed and paid by the Moroccan Ministry of Justice. But I don't think I will be standing and talk today in front of you if it wasn't thanks to JDC presence in Morocco since 70 years. And also never forget to thank mainly all the Jewish Federation of North America. JDC started its activities in the late 50s where we had no infrastructures at all. Besides our strong Jewish identity and ritual, we had no schools, no medical or social facilities, no old age home, and no hygiene. In fact, at that time, many children and people died from high diseases or lack of hygiene. So JDC in partnership with the local Jewish communities help us to reach where we are now. And as I always say, JDC made us, and until today, just its presence brings a feeling of safety net to the Jews. Thank you, our supporter, for your partnership. Thank you for the past. Thank you for the present and what we will continue to do together. I can't wait to welcome you in my beautiful country. Shalom.
Hello everyone. Salam. Shalom. I am Aziz Goumi, a national tour guide based here in Rabat, the beautiful city of Rabat, in which I was born and raised, and I still love. So I'm going to be explaining a little bit about the city and the history of the city. And the spot is very strategic. It holds a lot of layers of different civilization. Inside that fort, there are Roman ruins, right next door to Islamic 14th century ruins, which makes it very interesting. And there are beautiful gardens inside, and so many storks like you've never seen anywhere in one place. We are overlooking the river that we would see later. We would get close to it. So the spot, the river splits two locations. Now we have two cities. Rabat is on this side, Salah is on the other side. So the Romans followed the Phoenicians and settled in different parts of Morocco. By the way, this was the southernmost they have come throughout Morocco. So all the other Roman territories were up north. And this city, which was, was called Salah, Polonia, the Roman city that was here, and we're on top of Roman ruins. They're still underneath. After the fall of the Roman Empire around 4th, 5th century, this was deserted until the 12th century when Jacob the Victor, or Yaqub al-Mansur, Yaqub is Jacob and Mansur being the victor, came from Marrakesh and built his stronghold, or his ribat. By the way, the word ribat, which is the name of the city, means a stronghold, referring to the wall zone that Jacob has built in around 1150. There was no neighborhood when it was built in the 12th century. It was until 1610 when the Andalusians, the last of those who were expelled by the Catholics during the Inquisition around 1610, came and settled here in Rabat, and they built the Medina, the old town of Rabat, where the Jewish Mellah that we would see later is. Those people have brought a new lifestyle, and they have enriched the city with so many things. They were extra value to the place, and some of them settled inside the fort, as we will see later, building a neighborhood inside, bringing their Andalusian heritage with them to the city. So this is the main street of the Mellah. Luckily, just recently restored, so all the houses were repainted and all the shops, they put these wooden frames around them. There's no Jews living in here, but it's a very busy area. I mean, the whole street turns to a marketplace in the morning. The Jewish quarter, built in early 19th century, around 1808, during the reign of King Moulay Suleiman bin Mohammed, an Alawite king, the great-grandfather of the current king. So this Jewish neighborhood was full of life during when the Jews used to live there. Of course, most of them have left, but the heritage is still here. We still call it the Mellah. When it was built, it had all the facilities from the hammam, the communal bathing area, the communal oven, what we call the farran, and kids used to go to the Talmudic school here. There is still a functioning synagogue outside the walls of the Mellah over there. And the Mellah was built here on purpose, overlooking the river on that side. And the river was still an active harbor then. And the custom office was just outside the wall here. So most of the Jewish, members of the Jewish community used to work with commerce, and the customs office was just outside the wall over there. We are still in the Mellah of Rabat. This is one of the streets, the Mellah, and part of the heritage, the Jewish heritage, is the street names. All of them are still Jewish names. We could see the David Cohen Street here. That leads to a spectacular view over the river and the city across. And We can even see the Casbah from here. So you can see the Pomegranate River, and then the beautiful Casbah where we were earlier. Spectacular view. So we're waiting for you.
One of the highlights of leading this mission was having the opportunity to speak directly to women leaders from the Jewish community, both in Casablanca and Marrakesh. Given the time difference, we couldn't ask everyone to join us live, so let's listen in. The first question that I'd like to ask everyone is what it is like to bring up a Jewish household in Morocco, in a Muslim country.
Today, I have 3 kids, and I can say proudly that we are able to grow a Jewish family and household in a Muslim country. So my kids are able to walk out of the school. They're wearing tzitzit. Sometimes they're wearing kippah. So thank God we are able to have a nice Jewish family.
I love Morocco, but I can't say that it's not normal for a Jewish family to live in an Islamic country. We are a minority. We have to struggle to find our identity. In Marrakesh, we are only 80 Jewish people. So I think we are 2 or 3 young couples with children between 1-year-old and 6-year-old. There is no kosher meat, kosher bakeries. So we have to be very well organized with all the last events. I hope that Jewish life will be bigger and bigger. And I hope that the synagogue, because, you know, we struggle to have 10 men in the synagogue. It's a real problem for the prayers. So we hope that the synagogue will be full of people visiting us, tourists from Israel and all over the world.
Now, Valerie, what
Hi.
is it being a female leader in a Muslim country?
I started with a project to make a restaurant. So at the beginning, it was a little weird because they don't like women to be bosses generally. But I think this is something international, not specifically Moroccan. Slowly, they appreciated maybe the way I was looking at the people that were around me, working with me, my staff. And after that, they started to come because I was a Jewish woman. But I think in the Moroccan culture, generally, Muslims, when there were much more Jews in Morocco, they generally appreciated a lot to work with Jews.
Do you gather with other women in the Jewish community? And are you also including other women from other religions with your gatherings?
My kids, they're going to after school programs. So through those programs, I experienced some relations with the parents, and I really feel very comfortable. I don't have any problem. And we have all type of discussion, any topics. It can be about education, it can be about politics, it can be about religions. We really get along very well.
Meet Jewish people and also other religions, generally Muslims. I love the possibility to meet everyone together. I'm for coexistence.
Now I have another question. Are you excited about the Israel-Morocco normalization? And do you think it will have an impact on the Jewish community in Morocco?
Very excited about it because I am both Moroccan and Israeli. And I feel like it's my mother and my father go back to talk together. And I hope this will be the starting of something beautiful between the 2 countries.
Yes, we exist and we completely exist. We don't exist only as Jewish Moroccan, but also with Israel because our family is in Israel and we want them to visit us and we want to visit to visit us in Israel, and we don't want to say it like that. No, we want to say it out loud, you know. For the moment, we have only one small restaurant, and I think there will be like 5 or 10 restaurants within 2 years. I'm sure about that.
I think it's a good thing also in the economic point of view for Morocco and Israel.
Your kids, are they Moroccan first? Are they Jewish first? Are they, I guess they are Zionists also.
It's a combined feelings. They feel Moroccan and Jewish at the same time, because all our rituals it's a mix of religion and Moroccan in a Moroccan style. And also through the education that my husband and I are giving to the kids, we teach them to love the land of Israel. I cannot very answer this question if it's a Moroccan or Jewish, because for me it's together. This is not something that you can make it separate.
Deborah, how about your daughter? What's her identity?
She knows that she's Jewish because we light the candles in Shabbat, even if after that we don't respect all the rules, but we light the candles every Shabbat. She loves that. We make Hanukkah and all the traditional holidays, Jewish holidays. She asked me questions about the fact that we are Jewish, but other people are the Jewish. So I explained her that most of people in Morocco are Muslim, and you know she's beginning to understand.
Assalamu alaikum, shalom aliyachim. That peace be with you. I'm Rashid bin Kiran. I'm Moroccan, proud to belong to this beautiful country. Fez is the oldest, the largest, and the most authentic of all the medieval living cities in the world. This location where we are allows us a beautiful view over the Medina. It's a panoramic view which can show you, or you can see from here a little far, and it's where normally is the Fez El Jadid, the new Fez. The new Fez, it comprises 3 subsections: the Royal Palace, the Jewish neighborhoods, and the Muslim section. Just behind the trees, the benches of trees, you can see over there, a little lower, you can see the beginning of the wall to the Medina, medieval area. We are by the main entrance to the Medina. This is what we call the Blue Gates. It's a labyrinth. I meant there are more than 9,000 streets. You know, the amazing thing is there are only 2 main streets. This one here, you can see, and the other one, the other side. So it's easy for anyone to be lost. So this is the Andalusian district. I'm going to take you through the narrowest. So it's not yet the sunset, but still it's like dark, because the Medina is like 400 meters above the sea level, and the walls and these thick walls of these houses make the place a little dark. Can you see? I can barely fit. Look at my shoulders. Can you see them? So narrow the streets are, thick the walls are, and high these walls are, make normally the right perfect insulation. Maimonides, who lived in Andalusia, and he was here in Morocco, in Fez, for some years. This place used to be his home. We're not far from the Jewish neighborhood. And what you can see over there, it's the main entrance. So we're going to use it, to use this entrance to make you go back to the 14th century, to the 17th century, and even to the 19th century. Hi again, we're inside the Jewish cemetery. What you can see, all these tombs are like 13,000 of them in here. Some are with names and others are without. It's like 1600s are without names, and this is during this pandemic, which is the malaria, which is in the 40s, which happened in here in Morocco. They didn't have, time to make names on the tombs. They were buried without names. So these, tombs, which are a few of them inside, they're, the descendants, some rabbis, which are very famous and well known in the history of the Jewish people in Morocco. So this is the most recent tomb graveyard. You see how beautiful it is, and this is for a doctor, a famous doctor in here in Morocco, in Fes. He was born in 1933 and died 2019. This is the oldest one. If you can get closer, please, to see. Look, it's 1613.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Shakib from Fes. This is my hometown. And Fes, is famous because it's the capital of handicrafts. So here is the cooperative of mosaic and pottery. So I'm going to show you around. You will see the stages work.
Hi, I'm Paz Friedman.
I'm Danny Swissa.
And we're the daughters of Margalit and Pini Swissa. And we're here to talk about our Moroccan culture and heritage.
So we were born and raised in Boston, but our parents have a very different story.
My mom was born in Marrakesh, Morocco in 1960, and she was the youngest of 4 siblings. Her father was a jewelry maker in the Jewish quarters in Morocco, in Marrakesh. So we're going to talk about the henna, what a henna means. So a henna is a traditional Moroccan celebration for the bride before she gets married. It's typically thrown by the mother of the bride. And what is a henna? A henna actually stands for chala, nida, or. What does that mean? That means those are the 3 new obligations that a woman takes as she goes from the daughter, sister of a family to being a wife. First, you start with chala. It's a woman's obligation to make chala on Friday night for Shabbat. And nida is mikvah, a woman's obligation to go to mikvah once a month. And or is to light Shabbat candles every Friday.
So these are the 3 new duties of a woman with her new family, which is very cool. It's very much like a bat mitzvah almost, like you become a woman.
Exactly.
But more grand, I guess.
Right. So a traditional Moroccan henna is the funnest thing in the world. You have traditional Moroccan music, belly dancers, almond cookies.
So much food.
Yes.
So much food.
So the bride wears a traditional kaftan, and the groom wears, what's the hat again?
The tabush.
The tabush, yeah. So, and it's like the most amazing night. We were so lucky to have our henna in Israel. So it felt like Morocco.
It really is so alive and very much in the spirit of Moroccan culture. Like everything about the henna is like a micro version of what it means to be Moroccan in a grand sense. That everything is so colorful and high spirit.
Alive.
Exactly, it's alive. This is the essence of Morocco.
Paz and Danny, by sharing your family's Moroccan heritage and traditions, you've enriched our mission experience. We are grateful to you. There's something magical that happens when we travel on a women's philanthropy mission. It's this perfect combination of coming together to meet new friends and reconnecting with good friends. Through our experiences, we laugh and we cry. We see beauty and we see challenges. We discover new places and learn about the impact CJP is having around the world. And together we're empowered to help so many others. We become a sisterhood. And tonight, that's exactly what's happening to us as we're experiencing the colorful and vibrant Moroccan culture and traditions. We feel uplifted when we witness the impact that CJP's partnership has with the JDC, and we see Moroccan Jewish traditions thriving. I had the pleasure to experience a Moroccan tradition in Israel. So my good friend Marguerite's daughter, Paz, who you just met, and I was there at her wedding that you saw, it was steeped in ancient Moroccan Jewish traditions. But what really resonated with me was the henna ceremony. The bride is the most holy sacred being at the time of her wedding, and she has the power to share blessings. So what happened was Paz's grandmother painted the henna ink on the palms of Paz's hands, and then Paz painted henna on each woman's palm, giving us a blessing. So I especially love what the henna symbolizes. It's women coming together to support and celebrate one another during an important life transition. When you're going through a transition, whether it's one that you planned and hoped for or one that's unexpected, there's nothing more important than your support and care from your community. This year, because of the pandemic, we all experienced transitions. Every one of us has had our daily lives upended in some way. This year, too many of us, our friends and neighbors, have suffered through harrowing transitions that we never could have anticipated. People throughout our community lost jobs, lost income, and lost loved ones to the pandemic. It's with these thoughts in mind, and as CJP Women's Philanthropy Campaign Chair, that I want to thank you and remind you that our gifts to CJP's annual campaign matter. With 125 years of responding to the needs of our community, CJP was made for this moment. For each one of us, our gift is a symbol of our power to help another person turn their transition into a transformation, to show them they're cared for and embraced by their Jewish community. All of us here have the good fortune to be a part of this community, and we have the awesome responsibility to keep it strong. We were made for this moment. If you haven't already done so, please join Lori Glicklick, Women's Philanthropy President, and me in pledging your support to CJP. You'll find a link to the donation form in the chat. You can use it to make your gift right now. If you've already made a gift this year, on behalf of CJP, all of tonight's leadership, and the community you support, thank you. The symbolism of the pomegranate inspires us to be generous. There's a red ceramic pomegranate placed in the center of my home. It reminds me daily what it represents, the 613 mitzvot in the Torah, and our obligation to do mitzvah. Every time we do a mitzvah, that's a blessing back to us. As Palm women, CJP refers to us as Wonder Women. And what's our superpower? It's each other. And our unified strength comes from what we can accomplish together. Look at what we've accomplished tonight. We're so grateful to Lynn, Abby, and Risa, who've done an amazing job co-chairing this virtual mission, transporting us out of our homes, bringing the vibrant senses of Morocco to life. As CJP Wonder Women, whether we're on a bus or on a plane or like tonight at our homes, let's continue the mission to repair the world.
Wendy, thank you so much. That was beautiful, and what an inspiring way to close our first evening in Morocco.
We want to thank all of you for joining us on this journey, and especially to our partners at the JDC.
You thought tonight was exciting? Just wait until next week. We'll be immersed in the amazing sounds of traditional Moroccan music, explore more cities, and even experience a cooking demonstration together. We hope you enjoyed this journey through the senses, and we'll see you again next Wednesday, February 10th at 7:30 p.m. Good night.